Hi, I'm Alexander, and today we reach a point when we will deploy a Docker container image to the Azure Web Applications on containers. It has a lot of benefits, and the first one is that you should not think about the exact version of .NET framework within the environment. You should not think about which changes could be made with new update of Azure Web Applications itself, or could it be postponed or deprecated. And as a result, you should not think about how you will deploy your application to the environment, because you could choose a single file, you could choose framework dependent or independent deploy, and you could guarantee to your customer that your application will work exactly as expected, always, without any exceptions. Also, let's continue. Go to the pipeline, Docker container registry Linux, with single file off. Let's check which changes have we made. Here we have completely default template with only one change. Here I have added a latest tag. That is just for more convenient deploy process. Run. Good, it was built successfully. Let's create a new web application with Docker. Choose a resource group, choose some name. Here we choose Docker container, Linux operating system. Here I need to add that in 99% of all the situations you will always use Linux for Docker container. Sometimes it's possible to use Windows, but Windows is available only for the most expensive pricing tier with Hyper-V, and it's not an option for most of the developers. Region, pricing tier, next. On the second step we have some set of settings which we could configure for Docker. We could left as is. It will deploy our web application with Docker image with just a welcome page. But also here you could choose some other image sources. As we use Azure Container Registry, let's choose it. Then we choose our registry image, and here you could choose latest, and it will work always as expected. Startup command left empty. And yeah, you could fix the name, create. I have already created the one. And the first thing which you should do with all the web applications, that is enable app service logs. With Docker option enabled, here we have only one option, that is a file system. By default it is switched off. Turn on, put some days for attention period, depend on your needs, of course. Save, and after this you will be able to have a full log stream depend on the retention days you chose. Good, let's go to releases, cd docker. Here we choose our pipeline. That's all. Also, this thing, continuous deployment trigger, it means that when you turn on it, it will start a deployment every time we get a new build. I like this approach, but also everything depends on the situation. Here we also have two tasks which we can use for container deployment, but the most popular one is this Azure App Service Deploy, and we choose in this drop-down Web App for Container Linux. Then we choose App Service, Registry on namespace, where you could find this value. We go to our container registry, and this value, that is exactly what you need to put into this field. Next, image, we go to repositories, and that's a name of the repository. Put it here, and tag, as we added latest tag, and with every new build it will put a latest tag on the last build always. Let's check latest, and here you could see that we have two images with different tags, latest and 71, exactly the same time, everything the same. That is because it add two tags which we set up in the beginning in the pipeline. Also, with next build, you will see already, you will see latest and 72, for example. Good. That's all. Agent job, by default, we are using Azure Pipelines agent pool and Ubuntu latest. That is empty. And let's start. Ready. Let's check how much time it took. Just 17 seconds. Perfect. Let's go back to our web application. The first, let's check if it works. Also, the URL which you need, you could find in the logs also. And perfect. Let's. What do we see? You don't see any errors. That's good. And also, I need to tell you about configuration. Show all values. Sometimes it could be happen that web application does not have access to the container registry, and exactly these three fields are responsible for this. You should set a server username, server URL, and server password. All other settings are not mandatory. General settings, let's say, show you. Everything is default. And I forgot to tell you one important thing, that you need to go to the container registries and access keys and enable this admin user. By default it will be switched off. You need this to provide the access, the first to the pipeline. That pipeline could save the successfully built image to the container registry, and then, as I mentioned, you will need the username and password in the containerized web applications to do a Docker pull command. That's all. Have a nice day.